All right, what is up, guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, we're going to be doing my first interview with, go ahead and introduce yourself.
MoashDMC.
My,
So thank you.
it-
Yeah, I'm
it-
MoashDMC.
yeah,
People know me as Mosh or Zyba, the Black Kaiba. So
the Black Kaiba, that's awesome.
yeah,
Excellent. And today, of course, we're going to be looking at my favorite list. I'm sure probably one of your favorites too, right? I
oh
mean,
yeah, for sure.
yeah, we're looking at a black yellow Linlin. So I'm going to go ahead and make our faces small so you guys can see the list on the front here. I'm going to read through the list real quick for everybody, and then you can go ahead and do a breakdown for us on
Yeah,
how it feels. So first up, of course, is Manchuri, one of Manchuri, 4 Rebecca, 4 Bartolomeo, 3 Kobe, 4 Tashigi, 4 Khalifa, 3 of the when attacking Tashigi, 4 Borsellino, 4 Sabo, 4 Gadatsu, 3 Sakazuki, 3 Yamato, 3 Tenlin, 2 Great Eruptions, 2 Narkabura Arrow, and 2 200 million volts Amaru. So go ahead and give us a quick little breakdown on the list real quick for us.
yeah, for sure. So going into this meta, I knew that Sakazuki was the boogeyman, of course, and I felt like a lot of it was because of the black side. But the more I play, I realized it was more the blue. That is the most effective side for it. And I started building the deck to try to tech against Sakazuki, and then I felt like I was too tunnel vision on just strictly that matchup because I thought that was what I was going to see the most.
Right.
So then I sort of started branching out, and I realized that I could take some of that aspect and bring it into the black yellow side, as you can see with my 4 Rebecca and my 4 Tashigi, my 4 3-drop Tashigi.
Right.
But before I get too deep into that, let me go back and start with the Mancherry. The Mancherry is definitely just a one-off because it's just a cycle back, probably possibly 2Ks if I need a Sabo back, or even if I need my Borsellino or my Sabo back, Borsellino or my Sabo, I can also use Mancherry. But with Rebecca, I feel as though that is like the anchor of the deck. Because as
Gotcha.
a big mom player or as a yellow player in general, we always want to go second to get to our 10 drop curve. But a lot of
Absolutely.
the time with black yellow, I feel as though the sweet spot is our 8 Don turn because not only can we attach to tap 2 and discard 1 and heal, but we can also do that and accompany that with playing Rebecca and possibly getting a 2K back, but also establishing another body.
Definitely.
And that body would eventually be my 3-drop Tashigi. And the reason why I like that Tashigi instead of like Kuzan is because it can be played with Rebecca. And if it does last that one turn, it's very effective into our next turn because if we don't see our 10 drop, we still have our 9 drop Yamato. And of course, Yamato is a combination of both lives. And with Tashigi, attachment to Tashigi swing, that's a -3, and then I play the Yamato. I'm KOing anything from like 8 all the way down to possibly like from 1 all the way up to 8 most of the time.
Right.
For Barto is also just like it's a blocker, but also can be recycled with Rebecca. And I feel like Kobe is also very much in can be also another combo played with Rebecca as well. If we get the Tashigi down and keep the Tashigi down, we can also KO a 6K body with Kobe. And the 3-drop Tashigi as well is a 2K counter. And the reason why I like this Tashigi as well is because both Tashigis are both 3-drops, and sometimes we really don't have anything to play on our second turn.
Yeah.
And just playing out the 3-drop Tashigi or the 3-drop when attacking Tashigi, it plays really well into our curves, especially going second if we are on the odd. And then Khalifa is also a really good card because
Draw 2 trash too. Yeah.
I don't see any searchers. I don't have any searchers in my deck, and Big Mom or Yellow in general is really reliant on seeing Big Mom or seeing our bigger bodies. And
Right.
I don't mind playing Khalifa out as a 4, just to draw 2 and actually try to find that Big Mom. And sometimes I may even use her for the -2 effect to cycle cards, but also try to KO something with my Gadatsu later on because you never know how the game flow is going to go. I've
Absolutely.
talked about the one attacking Tashigi at nauseum now, but next we have probably everyone's favorite blocker, Borsellino. When he's on the board, it's very hard to remove him unless you are a blue player.
True. Yeah.
Playing him second always feels nice because we have that protection and he can't be taken off the board unless at least 2 cards are played against Sakazuki. It would need to be a Great Eruption or possibly a minus effect cost, whether it be Great Eruption, Ice Age, or maybe he has a Kuzan on board or something like that already established. But Kuzan is a very hard get off, and him using 2 cards sort of helps us with that card advantage going against Sakazuki or basically a lot of other cards. And I think because it's only blue that can really remove Borsellino, I feel safe keeping him there against every other matchup. So I think Borsellino is the staple when facing every other color.
Absolutely.
Yep. And then going into Sabo, I think everyone knows like the benefits of Sabo because not only is it a 5-drop, not only does it protect you from KO, it also helps us with the aggression against yellow. So a lot of the times I see myself playing either the 3-drop Tashigi and then playing Sabo the very next turn and then feeling free to swing at their life, not afraid of a Thunderbolt because sometimes the Katakuri player keeps that Thunderbolt there from on their first turn strictly because they know that 5-drop is going to come.
They know it's coming. Yeah.
And they're going to swing. But playing Sabo on my turn 2 turn or my turn 3 turn and then swinging, they're like, oh, okay, so that card then becomes dead.
Yep.
So I feel like Sabo not only helps me try to find my big mom, but also protects my cards later on in the game, and depending on what turn I'm playing them on. And
awesome.
The boogeyman of this set is Gadatsu.
Gadatsu?
Like, Gadatsu has brought a new type of meta to us over here because a lot of us don't really play the start game. We play a very aggro playstyle, at least over here. Yeah. I think Gadatsu sort of made it so that being a little bit reserved in our playstyle and trying to keep that life higher than our opponent just to KO their characters is really important. And I think Gadatsu sort of gives us that leeway and sort of helps us develop this new playstyle that I've been trying to work on for the last couple months.
Yeah.
And then we have Sakazuki.
Classic.
Everyone knows Sakazuki.
Yeah.
Everyone knows Sakazuki.
He's so good. He's so good.
He's definitely a forgotten card in this meta
because I don't
think any decks really run it right now. Besides, I've only seen Black Yellow Big Mom, and if I ever run into like a black player like a Smoker or a Luffy, they run Sakazuki. But for the most part, Sakazuki is a very surprising card because even though they know we're like yellow and black, they never expect the Sakazuki.
No.
So I think Sakazuki is like very important. Like how Borsellino is very important in the yellow matchup. Not so much. I mean, it does help with the Sakazuki matchup, but sometimes spending 6 down is a little bit too expensive.
It's hard.
For a character that's not gonna stay there for more than a turn.
Right.
But I do like it in every other matchup besides possibly Sakazuki.
It's such a forgotten card that like even blue-black Sakazuki doesn't play it. Yeah, it's like what?
It's interesting, yeah. And it's interesting because they could possibly play it and it could sort of like play into how Sakazuki wants to get cards out of his hand into his graveyard and possibly buy it back with Rebecca. So, and that's kind of how I use it as well. Like sometimes I play Sakazuki and I literally just trash the Kobe, and then the very next turn is my 8-down turn, and I play heal Big Mom, Rebecca, bring back the Kobe, and possibly KO something else, and then like, oh wait, what just happened? But obviously, playing Sakazuki and Kobe in back-to-back turns and Big Mom effect can be a little expensive.
Yes.
And that's why like taking life early and going down to that 1. It doesn't really bother us too much, especially if we're having that control style with Gadatsu, with Sakazuki, and then a Kobe.
Especially if you have a blocker on the board, even if it is just Rebecca, you're feeling pretty comfortable on 1.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Because they have to do something to get rid of that blocker regardless, whether it be swinging or possibly playing a card to KO it or
Amaru or
Yeah. Going into Yamato, Yamato is the one iffy card for me, only because I don't think I saw it in any game.
Really?
I think I saw it in one game against Enel, which was actually really important because they played their 7-drop. I made them heal. They went to 5, and I had 2, and I just dropped the Yamato and KO their 7-drop.
That's nice.
I think that was the only game I actually saw my Yamato, and because of that, I've sort of like been leaning away from it. But Yamato is still a very impactful card whenever you get to see him and then play him out and KO like a body, and also establish a 9K power body.
And you know, one thing I felt about I was all in on Yamato in OP04, but I don't know what it is. I've been the way your deck is a little bit different than the way I have it because I've been going more of the Big Mom Pirates package, and because I'm so tempo, it's hard for me to play Yamato. It's hard for me to get, and especially if I'm going hard tempo, where it's like, okay, I see where I need to put on a bunch of tempo to push my opponent down, where now their life is starting to go down with it, and it's like, okay, crap, I just lost all value from my Yamato. You know, it's a hard spot to be in.
Yeah. I think Yamato is a hard one because of where it hits and.
Yeah.
Like the matchup with purple, it's interesting because purple gets to a point where they have probably a couple 5K bodies.
Yes.
And
yes, they do.
The only purples we're really seeing right now is Purple Luffy, and he's probably in a range where you're not going to be able to hit. They're going to be attacking you, and they're taking their lives, so you're not really going to get that 5 cost range. Red Purple Luffy is 3 lives. You're
3
not
life.
get that range there.
Yeah.
So after a while, Yamato has like a very hard place, especially then you're wasting 9. Even though you do heal 1, it's very hard to line up a KO, and I think the only matchup that Yamato really is like preferential is if you have full control of blue black, or if you're going against yellow themselves.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
even that, like if you're going on the odd curve, you go 7 into the Yamato, yes, that could be beneficial, but oftentimes seeing 2 of them in my hand is very unlikely. And
Right.
most of the time, like I said, I didn't even see it, so it was very, very unlikely.
There you go. Yeah.
And then you don't want to see it later in the game when it's like, I rather a 10 drop Big Mom than rather seeing like a brick out of my life and it being Yamato, and I'm like, I can't play this anywhere.
I'm stuck now. Yeah, exactly.
And it can be pitch fodder sometimes for the Big Mom leader effect, so that is the only benefit from it, because obviously a lot of the cards in you look at my deck, a lot of them I don't really want to pitch, and that's why I think Rebecca is the anchor, because I can pitch it and know I can get it back very soon.
That's true. And one thing I will say about one thing that is nice about the Big Mom Pirates version is I have a lot of trigger play card where I have to trash a card, where that does make me want to give Yamato another try, because I do have an easy way to get some value if I don't have any value, quote unquote. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And that was the reason why I sort of strayed away from the triggers, is because I was leaning more to the black side of things, where I know Kobe and Sakazuki I'm already trashing cards, and Big Mom's effect I'm trashing cards. And I feel like after a while that may be way too much, and I'm playing with like only 3 cards in hand like later in the game.
Yeah.
And then moving on from Yamato, we have everyone's favorite, obviously the best boss monster in the game. We have 10 drop Big Mom.
She's a beast.
You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong.
She's such a beast.
Yeah.
Like the games. Have you had games where you're going against like Katakuri or even a mirror match, maybe by chance, and then they just go Linlin, Linlin, Linlin. Okay, well you win.
Like, literally, like honestly speaking, like it happened today. I was telling you about my first anniversary and how I went 4-1.
Yeah.
I was going in the semifinals. I was going against probably one of the better players, like in the world. I'll toot his horn a little bit.
Top player. Okay. Yeah.
Shout out Dofrey. He's
Nice.
probably one of the better players I've ever played against, and it was a Katakuri versus Big Mom, and I got to a point where he played his 10 drop, I played my 10 drop. He played his 10 drop.
Oh, then it's over.
10 drop.
Oh, you actually matched it.
Like,
Nice.
Yeah, I know. I matched it, and I ended up winning because of how depending on my hand, I'm very aggressive against Katakuri, because I know if I'm not aggressive, then when that 7 drop, 8 drop, and then 10 drop comes, then you're on your back foot and you just can't. So the best way I found out playing into yellow is that you play into the Thunderbolt knowing it's a Thunderbolt. Unless you have the Sabo, just swing 3 and just know you don't have another 5 drop on board. And a lot of the times I realize I swing, then I play it, and I know that character that I already swung with is either going to attack into or probably dying from the Thunderbolt. And so I never have something that can be hit with a Thunderbolt vulnerable to be hit by a Thunderbolt. And I realized that was the same thing I did today. And then
that makes sense. Yeah.
Ended up top decking a Big Mom, and then we went Big Mom for Big Mom, and I ended up getting it at the end.
No, very nice. Yeah. And now what about these 6 events at the end here? What do we got here?
I think so. I'm not gonna lie, these the 6 events. I've said that Rebecca's a staple, but these 6 events are probably like the greatest thing ever. Like Great Eruption in itself is probably one of the better cards.
Yeah.
Because not only does it help you with hand advantage in both ways in the trigger, but also by tapping 1 to -2, but also draw a card.
Right.
A lot of the times it puts things in range for Gadatsu. So going second, you can be more aggressive if you see Gadatsu Great Eruption, because you attack them even though they take a life, and they're like, oh, my character is safe. Never expect the Great Eruption, because sometimes they really do forget that Big Mom is yellow-black, and then they realize, oh, wait, they can play Great Eruption too.
I even had a game where yesterday for my locals, it was just like a little 18-player tournament, but I was tearing it up with Black Yellow Linlin, and I lost 1 game to Sakazuki, a good player, he was a very competent good player. He went on he got second, but if I had a Great Eruption, I would have been able to reduce the cost of his Sabo, 200 million volts of Maru, game over. I would have won the game. Easy peasy. The card is so good, and I'm so mad that I took it out yesterday. I'm so mad. At least it's a 2 of, right? At least it's a 2 of.
Yeah, I definitely bumped it up to 3. I think it's a card I do want to see often, especially with my KO effects. Great Eruption, like you said, Great Eruption into Amaru is the best game-ending combo I've ever seen. Yeah. Because they just never expect it. They have a queen on board. They're like, oh, my queen is safe.
I'm good. I'm good.
Nope. Yeah. And especially when you do Great Eruption and then Amaru, like Amaru sort of replaces the Dawn you just wasted. So like,
Exactly. The 3 Dawn you just
yeah,
used, and you drew a card with the Great
yeah,
Eruption. Yeah, it's
mhm,
just so good. Yeah.
yeah. And then sometimes I don't even mind, like if I don't see my 10 drop, I don't mind using Amaru to probably rest the Borso and swing at the Borso and also heal myself on that same turn,
Yeah.
because like one time I think it was I Great Eruption into Amaru. I KO'd the Borsalino. I healed myself, and I got my card back, and I discarded the card. So I wasn't necessarily ever really losing too much value on that one turn.
Sure.
So I got rid of a
Yeah.
blocker, and I still sort of established some, not only a life, but also a body, but also got card advantage back. And
Massive.
so I do like Great Eruption. I do like Great Eruption in tandem with Amaru a lot of the times. Just Great Eruption in general was just good card. It's a good card.
Just so good. And what about the arrow? I'm a big fan of arrow. So what's your thoughts on arrow?
So the arrow is a lifeline. It's like
Sure.
a Hail Mary, but also it's
Yeah.
like a savior. So the savior is like if you have it in hand, you tap one and you can like heal yourself. I mean, protect yourself minus 3k, but also seeing it in life. And that
Trigger.
was mainly
Yeah.
why I ran both of them. Is at times I realize that I'm tapping out all the time and I'm never truly going to use arrow. But if I do see it in life, that is actually where I want it.
Huge.
Right.
Yeah. Gain a life. Yeah. Trashing 2 of the dead cards we talked about earlier, and now you
Yeah.
gain a life.
Yeah, and I could have run Amaru at 4, but I was like, I think that's way too much. And
Yeah,
to be honest,
that's
at
risky.
2 of, I generally see it every game. It's weird. That's only a 2 of, but I generally see it every single game.
Black Yellow actually cycles cards a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It
for
with the
sure.
leader effect.
Yeah. So yeah, arrow obviously can be used as a defensive spell, but for the most part, I definitely like seeing it in life rather
That
than
trigger. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, we
Yeah.
talked about a little bit 200 million
Yeah.
volts Mario.
Amaru. Yeah, I feel like everyone needs like a way to end the game, and I feel like blue has
Hound Blaze.
Hound Blaze.
Yeah.
It's a bottom deck. Obviously, it's a little bit better than resting, but I think yellow being able to rest a character and then plus 3k. I think this card it's good in an L, but it shines in yellow black.
It's
simply because
nasty.
we can lower the cost.
It can hit anything we need to. Because, every blocker realistically is a 5 cost or lower. There's a few others out there, right? Who cares? But everything, it's hitting all of the standard. Because, like you said earlier, one of my biggest struggles with Black Yellow is Purple Luffy. Because you know how it is. If they get that Magellan start and then they just start curving into their late game, it feels so horrible.
Yeah.
But when they drop down those 5 costs, number 1, we have Sakazuki. And number 2, if you have Great Eruption with 200 million volts tomorrow, brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, like Purple Luffy, like after a while, I was scared of the Magellan earlier on, and then I played against Purple Luffy so much that I think it isn't as like people really assume it's an auto loss, and I
No
genuinely
way.
don't believe so.
No.
Like, yes, they do have the down advantage, but
Sure.
the way I set it up is that I can get to my high end, but I can preserve even when you're playing Magellan to get to my high end.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm playing multiple blockers, even though you have Pauly, then I still have my Sabo. My Sabo could probably negate that, but I also have my Borsalino that you can't remove that can also protect me a little bit and sort of stave off that pressure that you're giving
Right.
for maybe 1 or 2 turns. And then I can sort of counterattack when I have my Sakazuki to KO something, my Gadatsu, and my Great Eruption to KO something. And then slowly but surely, you may have stopped me 2 turns with probably back-to-back Magellans, but I'm at 9. I'm at 9 now, and then I'm playing my Yamato, or I'm back at 10, and all of a sudden I still have 1 life. You have 1 life because you've been taking it with Luffy, and your Kaido's gone because that was obviously pressuring your Kaido. And then I play my 10 drop, and then it's a whole different game.
Now it's over.
Which
Yeah.
happened twice, and to be fair, to be fair, in the Eggman tournament, I think I should have beat Purple Luffy. I should have beaten the Purple Luffy back-to-back games, but I was very aggressive because the first game I Amaru'd, swung into life, and I won. And I tried to do it the same way the second game.
Yeah.
But I didn't account for the fact that he had like 8 cards in hand. He had 8 cards in hand. And if I had just literally just played my Sabo and healed myself 1 more turn, I won the next turn.
Just be
So
patient.
sometimes, like,
Yeah.
just a bit trying to balance between like being too aggressive and just like waiting. But that was hindsight's 2020, so I couldn't really say anything afterwards.
And that really, like, I have to say this. I kind of mentioned a little bit, I think, in my previous video where I talk about how, okay, there was a turn that in my locals that I lost against Sakazuki where if I had just been a little more aggressive, like, you know how it is, playing Black Yellow, you have to play very, very smart or
Yeah.
they're going to truck you. So it's like there are times where it's like, should I swing right now or should I stay back? And for once, it was a time where I should have actually attacked, and it bit me in the butt. I lost by literally one blocker. But again, if I had just had Great Eruption, it wouldn't have mattered anyway. I'd have just won regardless with the 200 million volts tomorrow. Yeah. So speaking of that, can we segue into your matches? Like, can you do a little breakdown? Because and guys, I don't even know if I mentioned I'm the worst. The list we're looking at right now by Moash, right? Moash is how you say it?
Yeah.
Mosh. Yeah, this list is from when he got 13th place. That's top 16 in a 128-player tournament. So that's the list we're looking at, and that's the matchups we're about to talk about right now. Okay, so go ahead.
Yeah, so in the tournament, I started off with Purple Luffy.
Oof, that's a rough start.
Yeah, so this was my first time, like my first debut with not this like black yellow big mom, but like debuting this build with it, and I was a little hesitant because of the Purple Luffy matchup, but playing it out, he saw his Magellan, he played his Magellan, and he did put me back a turn. But at the same time, I had enough 2Ks in hand where I realized that his Magellan, even though he's going to be swinging probably 6 or 7 every turn, I don't mind taking my life because I balanced between taking my life and avoiding 7 cards in hand to avoid the law. And once he realized that, he started pitching his laws out of his hand. And it got to a point where he had his Magellan, he had his Kaido, but he relied on his kid blocker in the end because he knew his law wasn't playable in this moment because I couldn't get to 7,
right.
And that his kid was probably saved from Amaru. But I'm trying to remember how it actually played out. Yeah. I remember like I healed myself at 8 with Rebecca. He killed Rebecca with Kaido, and he swung, and I got down to 1 life. And then the very next turn is when I had my 10 drop already from the turn before. Then I played my 10 drop and I healed myself again, and he swung, and I was able to counter out both, take the Kaido hit, and I was at 1 life. So the very next turn, he had the kid out. I Amaru'd a Great Eruption into Amaru, buffed my my leader Big Mom, swung. I think it was like 16-20, something like that, and I ended up winning.
Nice.
So that was my first Purple Luffy match, and then the very next game was kind of the same way. But he played a very like odd card. I didn't expect it. It was Rush, the 6-drop Rush Luffy.
Oh, in purple? Like Purple Luffy? Wow, okay.
Yeah, and he pitched his Magellan, and it sort of threw me off, and I was like...
That's interesting. This
is very aggressive, yeah.
Yeah.
And
we kind of like that, though, right? Like.
Yeah. And what I realized that multicolored leaders are very technical, and like they have a very small window for mistakes. And my mistake was thinking that my second Purple Luffy match was going to play out the way the first way
just normal
first one went.
Yeah.
So then I went for lethal like I did the first match, not completely forgetting like how many cards he had in hand. I probably should have asked like how many cards he had in hand. And yeah, he was able to counter out by like he had 2K over within what I swung.
Wow.
But if I had just waited that one more turn, heal myself, play the Sabo, I would have been completely fine. And
that was that game.
Yeah, it was regardless of like the cards in his hand. I just knew like he couldn't KO anything with his Kaido. I had enough to block the Kaido, the Rush Luffy, and his leader. And if he played a second Kaido, I still had enough counter in hand to like protect myself. So if I just waited one more turn, I would have won that. And then that sort of snowballed into like a very like, damn, like I didn't realize this. So then my very next match was Sakazuki, and I know Sakazuki, you want to try to starve Sakazuki for a little bit, and I was just in like a different mind space. Like I literally swung like my first. I went first. I swung. He took life, and then right after that I realized, wait, this is Sakazuki.
Yeah. What am I doing? Yeah.
Yeah, and it was he actually rolled me. I think he ended up placing 3rd in the tournament.
Oh really?
Vincent or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I played absolutely terrible against the Sakazuki player. I didn't really realize it until like afterwards that I completely played him differently than I played every other Sakazuki ever.
Right.
And
because you were on tilt from the game before, right? That's what you're saying.
I definitely was tilted. I was like,
I've had that myself. Oh yeah, I've done that before many times. Yeah.
And it was to the point where like I swung and I was like, all right, he already has the cards, and I swung again. And I don't think he ever had less than 8 cards in hand the entire game, even playing out like 3 cards at once. Like he always had 8, and I was just like, I never saw my 10 drop. I didn't see Yamato. I didn't see the Sakazuki. I think I saw 1 Gadatsu out of life. I was just like, yeah, this game's a scratch. But
it is what it is. Yep.
After that, I was like, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just so first game Purple Luffy you won. Second game Purple Luffy got the L because unfortunately you weren't expecting that weirdness, and then And then Sakazuki lost. So then you went out from there, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sort of like took a break. I started folding laundry. I was like, I have like the match was quick. I had like 30 minutes to the next match. I
Oh
was like, let
no.
me take a break. Let me
Like
take a
deep
breather.
breaths. Yeah.
Yeah. Esau. And then I think it was Purple Luffy, Sakazuki, and then I think it was Anel.
And we
Yeah,
like
and
our
then
Nell matchups.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm sorry to the guy if you're watching this, but like it was a steamroll.
Yeah.
Because I once I realized that like how to play, once I like sort of calmed down and like play my normal game plan, like Anel I feel like is very easy
Yes.
because like I said, like Gadatsu works both ways, and I realize that very often, like most of the time. So like, but it doesn't work when you have Sabo, and that's the thing that Yanel doesn't have.
Right.
So it
And they don't
started
have
out with
Tinlin either.
yeah. So it started out with I played out my 3-drop Tashigi, and I played out my Sabo the very next turn. He couldn't do Gadatsu, so he went Om Holly. He couldn't swing, but he swung at life, so I won't go down to 3. But very next turn, Great Eruption, I popped the Ohm. Obviously Holy. Then I swing at life because I swing at life because I wasn't scared of the Thunderbolt. So I attacked twice, and even if he Thunderbolted one of the 2 characters, I was completely fine with it.
Yeah.
He then swings with Holy. I go down to 2 life. Then he sort of starts to establish. What turn was that? So that would be turn 3.
3 or 4. Yeah.
3, and then I think he established a Satori out of hand, or was a Shirahoshi out of hand. But I think he was pretty much shambles at that point because I popped the Holy and he didn't have much pressure on board, and I had 3 to his 1. So then he swung again, and obviously I protected this time with Sabo and I countered out. And then my next turn, I swung KO the Holy. I think I played Sakazuki or Kobe. And I don't know, I got rid of the Shirahoshi somehow. I can't remember how I did it.
Yeah.
And then he ended up. Now I didn't attack life at that point because I was like, okay, now I'm going to try to starve him a little bit mid game.
Now we're in the attrition game. Yeah.
Yeah. So then now he was like, okay, and then he plays a 7-drop, and at that point I was at 2, and he was at his. Oh wait, no, I didn't attack him. When I attacked him, he countered out. That's what it was. He played a 7-drop and he heals to 5, and I was like, oh, perfect, because I have my Yamato in hand. I play my Yamato, I pop his 7-drop, and at that point it was pretty much game over. He swung again at life, but I healed myself from my Yamato, so I'm back at 2. He swung at life, I countered out. Very next turn I 10-drop, then he swings again. I protect myself because I still have my Sabo on board, and then I 10-drop again. And
it's over.
Like at that point, like I'm swinging, and he's countering every card in his hand because he tries to keep his life, at least that 1 life available before he could. So
yeah,
he plays Yamato out. He heals himself back up to 2, but I already have a Yamato and 2 Big Moms established on board.
Too late.
I played.
Yeah.
Yep, and then I played my 3rd Big Mom, and then I switched life. He has a Amaru on his last life, which is really interesting because I didn't know the ruling to this, but he obviously trashes 2. He has no cards in hand, but the Amaru heals the 1 life from the effect, but also Anel's then discard is not a cost, so then he heals himself to 2 life. But at that point, like, he really didn't have much. So then I just, like, he didn't play anything the next turn. I think he just swung at my face. I took it, and then I just swung, and that was game.
Got him. Yeah, Enel is a very nice matchup. I've realized. Like there is a pull that they can get where it is just gas, like and any kind of hit you hit if they get stuff out of the trigger, it hurts. But generally speaking, I'm very happy with our matchup against Enel. So game 5, let's hear it.
Game 5 was Purple Red Luffy.
Oh, okay.
This one,
that's a tough match.
This was probably my favorite game of the tournament.
Okay.
Simply because of how the whole thing played out. I don't remember like the beginning part. The beginning part was like very like back and forth ish. And I remember I did play my Gadatsu. I played the Great Eruption Gadatsu to pop his kid at one point, which really benefited me because he has a lot of minus effects and he wants to keep that retention of Don.
Yeah.
But fast forward, he had a kid on board, a 7-drop kid, a queen, and a Whitebeard. And this turn, the turn I'm talking about was like, I took like 3 minutes. I told him, I was like, give me a second. I'm about to do math. So
yeah,
like,
1 second, please.
Ahead. Yeah. So he has the 7 plus, he has a 7 kid. He has the Whitebeard. So right now he's at 9K. And I was like, okay, I have my 3-drop Tashigi when attacking. And I think that is all I have on board at the moment. And maybe Gadatsu, but I can't remember if my Gadatsu survived up until then.
Right.
So I attach one. I swing at lead minus Whitebeard by 3. Obviously, it's a 6K swing at 9, so it's not doesn't gonna do anything. Then I Great Eruption and I drop it down to now 5. No, now 4.
4.
And then I played my Tashigi, my 2K Tashigi, arrest it, and then I drop it down to now 2.
2.
Play Rebecca, take a 2K out of trash, then I play my Kobe and I pop
Kobe.
the Whitebeard. Yeah.
That,
And then now he's like, okay, but also I had enough down to still heal because I had attached one to Tashigi, that was
Tashigi,
1, and then
yeah.
Rebecca was 4, so that was 5, and I still had 2 to heal, and I had 1 up for my my arrow. So then he's like,
Perfect.
what just happened? He was like, I don't know, bro, it just happened. And then so the very next turn he saves his kid. I swing 8 at his kid with my big mom card attached 3 and swing.
Yeah.
And then he saves his kid. He goes active, and then he plays his queen. He trashes a Magellan, and in his hand he has 8 cards. And I'm like, okay, this is very interesting how this is gonna play out.
Right.
And he swings at me. I just pop my Rebecca, and then he swings again, and I take the life. So then he has a queen. Then he plays his queen at the end of the turn, and then he passes. So then I play my 10 drop Big Mom. So I heal myself. He still has two. He has kid, queen, and then his leader obviously attack. And then he was thinking about it, like what he should do, and he went for game, but he didn't remember that I had healed myself with my Big Mom. So then he's like, oh wait, if I had known that. Oh, wait, no, was that the kid game? No, that was the kid game. Sorry.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He attacked me with kid, but I had enough to counter out.
Perfect.
And then I took my last 2 lives. So then he said pass with 8 cards in hand and the queen blocker up. And I'm like, okay, so how am I gonna do this now?
Yeah.
So I was like, this is either gonna work or I'm gonna be 1K off. And the 1K is because I didn't have Great Eruption, but I had to attach one to Tashigi. I used Tashigi, I swing at lead, and I -3 cost on the queen.
Yeah.
But he's still at 7K, so obviously it's not gonna go through. And I was contemplating a very long time whether I should swing 7 at him or just swing the 6. Because if I swung 7, I thought that he would. If I swung 7, I felt as though he would have just took the block with queen.
Yeah.
And then kept all the cards in his hand. So I swing 6. Obviously nothing happens. I lower the cost and I play Amaru. I rest him, and then I swing 22 at
with Big Mom.
Phase. Yeah. So I knew he had 8. So I try to count out every possible way he could possibly get to 22.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm either going to hit this on the dot or be 1K off because of the Tashigi. And he had I think Rad Beam, and just every single card was a 2K. But his very last card was Luffy.
Oh.
So he got to exactly 22, and I was like,
Can you even believe, man?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
I was like, I told him to sit there and wait for me, because I was like, for a solid 2 minutes, I was counting on my D20, like every possible counter he could have in hand. I just went for it and I got it.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was 5, right?
Yeah.
So game 6.
Yeah. Game six was a no-show, actually. He just didn't show up. I think he lost the turn before. Yeah.
We'll take those. We take those every time. So game 7. Here we go. Final game.
Game 7 was against Red Purple Kid. Chill guy. I forgot his name. I think he commented on the Eggman video. He was really chill.
Yeah.
He was like, "Yo, this game is probably gonna be to get your deck list in the video," and I was like, "What?" And I didn't realize. I didn't like register in my head like, "Oh yeah, top 16." I didn't realize I was playing for like a top 16 spot at that moment.
Yeah, for 5-2. Yeah.
Yeah. So it went as well as any Black Yellow Big Mom could do. Like I think it played everything into my favor. So he played his Sanji turn 1. He attached 1 Don, swung at me his turn. Then I played my Gadatsu, pop his Sanji.
Yeah.
And then I think he played out his kid later on. Then I pop his kid without a Sakazuki or a second Gadatsu. And he's like, "Oh, I didn't realize you can do that." And the game sort of played out with like me just like continuously controlling his board like every phase of the way. And with Kid, like obviously Kid has to or pump himself to like swing at phase.
Yeah.
And against Kid, at that point when I killed his Sanji and then I popped his queen, I felt completely fine. I just was taking life. At one point he played like a vanilla six drop vanilla Sanji. I was like, that's cool. Like I at that point in the game when he's wasting 6 on that Sanji, I was like, because it's not a rush, like I'm not really afraid of it because I can already either establish a way to protect myself from it or just like find a way to like work around it which I ended up doing. I played, and then I got to my 10-drop Big Mom, played my 10-drop Big Mom, and that's when I went up to 3. And he thought that I was at 2,
2.
and he tried to go for a game, but he couldn't because I was at 3. And then I think that was my Big Mom took like his last life or second to last life.
Yeah.
And then I end up hitting Amaru again, and just like I think that was when I Great Eruption Amaru and just went for game and got on that one.
I will say it does seem like we're pretty good off in the Red Purple Kid because they have to be at what 3 life before they can even attack for 5 default.
Yeah.
So it's like if we need to, we can just keep them on 5 life and just have full range on Gadatsu and force them to the Dawn Minus to set them back. It's like that seems like a very good matchup for us.
Yeah, it was to the point where like because I liked Red Purple Kid, so I already started building it. So I already knew the ins and outs of the deck. Once I saw the 2-drop Sanji, I'm like, okay, I already know what he's probably gonna go for. So I sort of like had
he 2-drop Sanji to start pulling from life.
Yeah, he did
that makes
do
sense.
It the first time.
Oh,
yeah, I would. So like, it's a very meticulous. Like I said, like dual color leaders are very meticulous. You have to be very like pinpoint with the decisions.
Precision.
So he played the Sanji and he didn't take the life originally. And I was like, and once he did that, I was like,
punish.
Should did it because you always take it. Unless you're Red Purple Law, unless you're going against Red Purple Law.
That's different. Yeah, because it's like you're about to get punished, dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So,
Well, that's awesome. Let's take a look at the other list too, because let me. Goodness gracious, I'm probably gonna mess everything up here, guys. Anyone listening, bear with me here. Let me go to this. There we go. Let me get this back up now.
Oh yeah.
So this is the list. So everything we just went over there was from his 128 player tournament, 13th place finish, and this is from literally. Today. And was there any changes, or is this just... Oh, I see an Isho.
Yeah, so I took out the Mancherry and I put an Isho, and that was because it was a way to counteract the 8-drop Kaido.
Gotcha.
So, and funny enough, like, first, like, I played a lot of Sakazuki today. I played a total of 3, and we'll talk about how I lost the last one at the end, but the first one, it went exactly how Sakazuki would play. He KOs, he had Lucci, Rebecca, the Hina, the works.
Everything.
What we didn't expect is I swing 6 at face, he takes a life, and I'm like, oh man. Everyone plays for 7, but everyone forgets to play for 6. I drop the Isho, I pull out his brand new in a 2K.
Oh.
And the thing is, Sakazuki runs, I feel like most decks run 8 2K counters, and I think he's already used 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So me hitting the 5th one, and he already used 2 Hound Blazes, I was like, yeah, this is pretty much wraps.
Feeling good, yeah.
Yeah. So I played out my Isho, he took his life, so then now he's at 1 life. He plays out his 7-drop board. No, he had a 7-drop Borsalino already on board. He had his Borsalino on board. And I think he had, a brand new on board already. So he swings at face. I was protecting my life very heavily. And I was at 3, so I went down to 2, and I was completely fine with that.
Yeah.
And then I countered out my turn. I played a 10-drop. He loses his life, and then he just scoops first turn. He just scoops after that. Because I think he was at 3 or 4 cards at that point. I had Amaru in hand. I went back up to 2 life. And I think my hand advantage was like 6 to his 3. Yeah. And I had I think I took a 2K back with my Rebecca that he bottom deck with Borsalino. So. And
that is the strategy, right? When it comes to because I felt the same way. When it comes to Blue Black Sakazuki, it's starve, just starve them.
Yeah. And then that's why they run the 10-drop. And some of them I've seen some lists without a 10-drop that's very aggressive.
Yeah.
And I think that sort of just plays. It depends. You can always tell how the player plays as well, and what they're looking for depending on what they pitch early on.
Right.
And I realized that. A lot of the times, Sakazuki has a good matchup against almost every list. So it's never that they're at a disadvantage. It's just how you sort of it's like a chess match with Sakazuki, because sometimes you can be aggressive, sometimes not. And I realized, depending on my hand, depending on if I have a Gadatsu and a Great Eruption, I will be very aggressive very early on. Sometimes I don't even mind starving them. Especially with the Isho in hand, if I see an Isho, I'm being so aggressive because they don't expect the Isho.
Right.
And that was sort of how I played it in this tournament, because yeah, I'm just going to be aggressive, and then we'll see how it plays out. And it played out well.
Right.
And then my second matchup was Black Luffy.
Nice. I've seen that deck pop up now, man. That deck's popping up quite a bit.
Yeah. It was... I saw my Sabos. I had my Sakazuki, so it just didn't play out well for him. And I saw my Big Moms. He was able to KO 1 Big Mom, but I had 2, and it was like, yeah.
It's one of those decks when I see it, I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's something we're going to struggle with. I mean,
Mm.
not that it's a bad deck, right? It's just
Mhm.
who expects to go against black yellow Linlin?
Yeah.
We are consistently, and I know you know this from being a good player with black yellow
Mhm.
Linlin. We get to the point where we're at 1 life and we go up to 2. We go to 1,
Mhm.
we go to 2. We go down to 1,
Mhm.
go to 2. They just can't stop
Yeah.
it. There's no
Yeah.
and if they don't, if they let us sit at 2 life, thank you very much. Now I get 4
Yeah.
extra Dawn a turn to play with.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's a nice spot.
Yeah. So that was Black Luffy. I
Yeah.
went second. I played out my Borsellino my second turn, and then
Oh yeah.
my Borsellino just stays on board the whole
The
time.
whole
Like
game.
there's no way to
6K
no way to
leader.
remove him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, yeah, he had his KOs. He used his effects with guard, but like for the most part, I think I removed almost everything he played. I removed it
Yeah.
more efficiently than he can remove my stuff because I had my Sabo and my Borsellino, and I didn't really play my big bodies until later in the game. So I was just like, it was a very much like Control S game from start to finish.
Absolutely. So
And then after that,
yeah.
I played another blue black Sakazuki,
Hmm.
and I'm not gonna lie, like I said, I was talking about the Katakuri player. This he's probably one of the better players in the era as well. Like he's probably, I don't know if you know him, like Frank Moon on Twitter. Like I think he's like a Twitch partner. He does like articles for the OPTCG. He's like pretty
Really
big, and he's known for like building decks and like having like a very big mind when it comes to the game. And he's like
awesome.
really solid player.
He's one of those
And
guys.
yeah,
Gotcha.
he was 21-0 with Sakazuki before I think yesterday, and then I think he lost to Red Purple because of obviously 10-drop Luffy, and
That's
then
crazy.
he's beaten me every single time we played. Not even with Sakazuki, just like since I started playing up until now, I've never beaten this guy. So I was like, okay, here we go.
Here we go again.
And the match went fairly back and forth. I like I said, after a while, I understand how almost every Sakazuki player wants to play. Like there's not many variables that they can throw out. You know, like every Sakazuki deck is pretty much the same.
Like 90% of the list is straight. Yeah.
Yeah, I know some of them run Mihawk, some of them run 10-drop Kuzan, but I feel like with my deck, like depending on how they play, I sort of have a feeling that they're going to play those cards, and I'm a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah.
But with him, he saw Rob Blue Cheese, but he never played them because I never put him in a position to be able to play them.
Right.
So the only effective way to get rid of my stuff was either bottom decking, or it was just bottom decking. And I think he used 2 Hellhounds and used 2 Borsellinos. I didn't see my Gadatsu until later in the game. I didn't see my Sakazuki. So it was a very much more like a very meticulous game of like trying to balance between preserving my life until I got to my 10-drop.
Right.
So I didn't see my Isho either. I would have been really nice to see my Isho, but I didn't. He started off the game playing out his Hina and then using his Hina late the next turn to Hellhound me. He bottom decked my Borsellino. So then right now I'm at 2 life to his 3 because I did swing at him early. And then no, I did see I only saw 1 Gadatsu. That's what it was. I played my Gadatsu to pop his Hina because I saw that it was a 3 cost, and I'm fine with that. And then I sort of went on the aggressive after that.
Yeah.
Then my next turn, I think he KOs my Gadatsu, and I play another Borsellino. And then he swings at me again. I get down to 1. I then heal myself. I use the Rebecca combo. I play Rebecca, and I play the 3-drop Tashigi when attacking. I get another 2K out from trash. And then at this point, it got really scary because at this point I was swinging at life every single time, and he got down to I believe 2, and then he played his first Borsellino, the 7-drop, and then the next turn he played another Borsellino. So he played back-to-back Borsellinos, but at that point I got him down to 1 because I played my 10-drop Big Mom.
Yeah.
I play my 10-drop Big Mom, and then he, in turn, he swings. I protect myself. He swings another 8. I double 2K out, and then he swings again with another 8-drop Borsellino, and I just use my blocker Borsellino and get rid of to block it. And then he 10-drops Kaidos. So then I'm like,
oh dear.
At this point, I'm like, damn. But the thing is, in this situation, it was more like I was at. No, I think he got me. He got me to 0. Sorry, not to 1. He got me to 0 with the 2 Borsellinos. Because I used my Borsellino the turn before, and then he had his 2 attacks with his leader, and he used his 2 7-drop Borsellinos. He has his leader and his blocker Borsellino still on board. He chose not to attack with his blocker Borsellino because the way I was presenting my 2Ks, I used 4 2Ks, but he saw me when I got another 2K back. So he had assumed that I had more than I actually did.
Right.
And then I also took my 2 life. So I think at that point I had like 5 cards in hand, and he knows one of them is a 2K.
Yeah.
So I think he didn't swing with Borsellino for that very reason, and he didn't expect me to have Amaru. So the very next turn, I Amaru'd, and to my big mom, I rested his Borsellino. Even though he played 10 drop Kaido and he had like 8 cards in hand, I go 14-14, and that was game.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, and this was the guy that you've been wanting to beat for a minute now, right?
Yeah.
So,
he's an amazing player.
so that felt real good. I bet that felt real
Yeah.
nice. Very nice. With Big Mom too, with Black Yellow Big Mom of all decks.
Yeah.
There's something I tell Joey from Heart Pirates TCG that YouTube channel.
I watch his videos all the time. Yeah.
That's my real life like friend. We go to the same locals and everything. He's my buddy,
Oh, nice.
and it's like there's. I try to explain to him. He wants me to play more of the meta decks because I always get real close to winning a tournament, but I always get like second or third. With Black Yellow Linlin, and I'm like I can't really explain to you the satisfaction I get with beating people with a deck that's not supposed to beat people. Like there's something about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And plus it's the challenge, But anyway, I won't go down that rabbit hole.
No, listen, I am right there with you. So like today, they were like, this is their first time you ever play like a tier 2 deck, and I was like, yeah, 'cause I usually always play like the tier 3 decks. Like my first set I was playing Uta, my second set I played Odin. And they're like,
let's go,
like,
Odin. Yeah,
I'm playing what I want to play.
I'm trying to have fun, man. Yeah, I want the challenge. They don't get it. Some people don't get it. It's not their fault. It's almost like a curse to us, because it's like, why wouldn't we, being good players, why wouldn't we just play like the tier 1 S tier decks? Because we like the challenge. We're not going with the flow. We do our own thing, man.
Yeah,
I'm right there with you.
Grain all the time.
That's it.
Yeah.
So let's hear game 4.
So then game 4 was the one I told you about, the Katakuri player, or just the player in general. Like I said, shout out Dan, shout out Dofree. He's like one of the better players like I've ever met in my life, and I think he's topped in a lot of like treasure cups,
multiple treasure
stuff. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah.
So he was Katakuri, I was yellow black, and then like I said, so I was playing very aggressive because I was scared of the 7, 8, and the 10 just coming out at once and not being able to counter them.
The curve is too much. Yeah.
So I think I went first. I think he got second. So I was like, okay. So then I'm expecting Katakuri and Big Mom at 10. So let me just be a little bit more aggressive on the early side. So my first turn, I obviously have no 1-drop. So then I passed. I swung at him. I think he took it and he triggered a Sanji blocker. And then I played my 3-drop Tashigi. He then goes. I don't think he had a turn to play. So I think he just swung 7 and 8, and I took both happily. Yeah. And then I swing. Then it's my 6 down turn. Yeah, no, my 5 down turn.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, I went my 5 down turn.
Something like that. Yeah.
And then I swing 6 at Sanji. He blocks, and then I play my. No, I swing at face for 5. He counters out, and I drop my Gadatsu and I pop his Sanji. So now I have my Tashigi, my Gadatsu to his empty board. And then after that, I forgot what his next play was. But I think, no, actually, when I swung, he ended up taking it, going down to 3, and he triggered a Satori. And that's what it was. So then he Satori the next turn, swung on my Tashigi, popped my Tashigi. He played another Satori, and then he swung at face. And I countered out of that one. And then this is where I love Sakazuki because he didn't expect it. I have my Gadatsu, and then I drop my Sakazuki, and I pop his Satsuru, and I swing out the other one. I think he protects it because at that point, if he didn't, then he would have nothing on board. Yeah. He protects his Satsuru, and then in retaliation, he swings out my Gadatsu, I think for 8 the next turn, and I take it. I was like, I'm not going to try to protect him right now.
Nah.
And then he plays... I can't remember what he played at that turn because now we're getting into the point where 10-drop Big Mom is like very like playable.
It's coming.
I don't remember. I don't remember this part of the game.
That's all right. Yeah.
Parts are blurred. But I just remember that my Gadatsu left, and then I just had my Sakazuki, and my Sakazuki stayed on board for the whole game. And just fast forward to the end, he plays. I got him down to 2, and I was at 2.
Yeah.
I healed that turn. Actually, I healed that turn. He plays his 10-drop, goes up to 3.
Drops you to 1.
Yeah, it drops me to 1, and then I play my 10 drop in retaliation. I swing with 7, and I get him down to 2, and I swing with no, got him down to 1 because he was at 2. Then
Oh,
he
is
was
this
at
the
2.
game? Is this the game where y'all bounce big moms? Like you drop, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Oh dear,
So
yeah,
I play my big mom, and he was triggering a lot of cards. So then that was when I was saying like he was triggering a lot of cards, but his card was like 3. He was playing with 3 or 4 at the end of the game, which
yeah,
is perfect for me because I was playing around with or 5.
right,
And even though I had to discard cards for Sakazuki, I still was like very much in control because of my KO effects and like sort of emptying his board out. So I
yeah,
didn't have to counter out as much early on. So then I play my big mom, and then he goes back down to 2. I swing 7. I swing 5. He counters, and I swing 7, and he takes the life. The next turn, I think he was contemplating whether to play big mom or not, or just try to go for my board. He plays his big mom, goes back up to 2, and then I'm like, yeah, was it 2? Yeah, he goes back up to 2, and then he swings at my big mom, and then I had my Borsalino block, and I blocked with it, so I still had one life. And then I played my big mom, put him back him down to 1. Then I swing 12. He takes 12. No, I swing 7 because he had 3 cards in hand, and I still have my leader attack. I swing
yeah.
7. He didn't have counter, so he takes his life. I swing 5. He counters, and I swing 12, and I get the game.
Smash.
So
yeah,
so I was like,
perfect.
perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And so you're 4-0 at this point, right?
I'm 4 at this point, yeah.
Okay, and now let's hear about the finals. Here, it's 5.
So, the finals, I'm kicking myself because in my head I knew what I needed to do, and it was obviously another Sakazuki player, and he was like this is the first time I ever saw him at the locals.
Really?
He drove down from, I think it was either from Massachusetts or he was from out of town.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
He just came and just ran through the locals basically.
So this is my locals now. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the thing is, he had the easier schedule. No, but I'm just kidding. He was a great player too.
Yeah. Hey, matchups are everything, man. When it comes to tournaments, matchups are literally everything. Because the Sakazuki player that I lost to last night, he played against NL in the finals. I would have loved that matchup. Give me that NL matchup every time. You know. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, it was something because on the Bandai app, it's like your opponent's win percentage. Like mine was like 72, 75. His was like 60. I was like, goddamn, like come on. Yeah.
Help me out, right?
But the reason why I was kicking myself is because I didn't mulligan for a big mom or one of my big bodies, and I had I think it was Tashiki Gadatsu, or Great Eruption, Borsalino, and I forgot the other card. But the problem was that I usually play out the same way. I don't think So my first turn was passed, and I played Tashigi. I think he bottom decks to Tashigi. Can't remember. But the problem was on my third turn, I could have Gadatsu the brand new, but I let him stay. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna save it for a bigger body because I don't have any other KO effects in my hand.
Sure. Yeah.
And because of that, the next turn he was able to. I can't remember if he held twice, but I think he did because he saw all 4 Hound Blazes.
Oh man.
And the game, and when that happens, it's very hard to win. And he saw his Hound Blazes and his Borsalinos. I let his brand new stay for one more turn, and he ended up using Hound Blaze. He bottom decked either the Tashigi or the Gadatsu. I think it was the Tashigi. And then he swings. So he swung 7, 6. Or it was to the point where I only had 1 2K in hand.
Yeah.
And I think I had used it, but I wasn't able to protect myself from either hits. Basically, that's where I was. So I had no 1Ks in hand. I was like, damn. So I had to take both those lives. And then I went to KO and I popped the brand new. Oh, wait, that's what it was. So I didn't play my brand new yet. He played his brand new, and he swung, and I had to take both those lives. And then I played my Gadatsu, and I KO'd the brand new. So it was to the point where I was like, damn, if only I had actually KO'd the brand new when I wanted to.
Right.
Then I would have been in a better situation. And then I think at that point he established a Kuzan.
4 cost.
I was like, 4 cost Kuzan. Yeah. So then I had I was like, damn. And then the next turn I play my Rebecca really early. That's how I know I was in shambles because I'm playing it that early and not even my heel turn. So I play my Rebecca and I get back our Great Eruption, get back my Tashigi, and I play a Kobe. To pop his Kuzan.
Yeah. Because you have to remove that card.
Yeah.
That card's gotta go.
Yeah. But at that point I'm at 2 lives now, and then I just discarded the card, and now I don't really have 2 stable bodies on board that I feel effective with. But if I had bought myself that one turn by killing the brand new, I know
Yeah.
I would have been in a way better position. And because of that, I didn't like panic or anything. I was still very much in the game
Yeah.
because I still traded boards. Like we're at that point now, both our boards are empty. But he has, I think, 8 or 9 cards in hand, and I'm just like, damn, because that's the thing about Sakazuki players. Like a lot of times they're removing stuff without actually playing a lot.
Right.
Like, he was playing Great Eruption, so that cycles. He played Kuzan, which also replaces itself. So like he was never losing cards in hand, and I was attacking life too. But I was still in a decent spot, and I'm just like, if I see 10 drop Big Mom, I know I was in a spot where like if I saw 10 drop,
drop it.
Like I'm 100% perfect.
Right on curve. Yeah.
So the game plays out. I end up playing my Tashigi out again. I didn't think he didn't at that point. He didn't realize that this Tashigi was the when attacking Tashigi.
The
so
3
he
cost
plays
5K.
his 7. Yeah. So he plays his 7 drop Borsellino. And I think he bottom decks my Rebecca. So then I go for I think I top deck a second Rebecca. I attach one. I swing -3. I swing on his. He then later on then played another brand new. I swing at the brand new. I -3 on the Kuzan. I Great Eruptions.
Nice. Yeah.
No. I played the three out by itself. I played the 3 2K out.
Hina. Oh, the Tashigi.
No. Yeah, Tashigi. Yeah. I used it. And I rested it. And I -2. And then I played my Rebecca, got the Kobe back, played the Kobe again, and I popped the Borsellino. So now I have Tashigi, Rebecca, Kobe on board. So I'm like, okay. And now he has Borsellino. His Borsellino is gone now, and I think he has one other character on board. I can't remember what it was. I can't get. I think it was a Borsellino blocker.
Yeah.
But that was it. And then he then goes for the Rebecca, Hina, Rob Lucci, pop one, and then swing at the other. And I was like, okay, can't really do anything with that. Like,
can't do much about that.
It's the Rob Lucci combo, so I'm like, I'm used to it by now. And then this is where I think it was my 10 Don turn. And I'm like, I'm not in shambles yet. I'm at 1 life. I can heal. I just need to see my Big Mom. If I see my Big Mom this turn right here, like not this, like that turn, but like the following turn.
Yeah, just get it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But obviously, like trying to rely on RNG is like not the way to win. But at the same time, you can hope and pray, you know.
Hey, it's cards, man. It's
yeah. So he kills both. I heal myself and I play out. I think of Borsellino. Okay, I play out my second Borsellino of the day. I heal and I try to establish. What was it? I tried to establish something else. Can't remember what it was. I think it may have been another 3 drop, to be honest with you. But it was like a Borsellino. No. I just healed and played Borsellino and I passed.
Yeah.
And then he reduced it with a Great Eruption, and then he Hellhound, and that was like his 3rd Hellhound of the day, or Houndblade, sorry.
Yeah.
Bomb decks my Borsellino, swings twice. I protect myself with 1. I take the other one, and I'm like, all I need to see is my Big Mom. And no, he played a Sabo, and that was the backbreaker right there. He played a Sabo out, and I couldn't KO anything. So even if I got like a KO card, I couldn't really do much.
No.
I top deck a Khalifa, and I'm like, can't really do much right now. So I'm sort of much like on my back foot, can't really do much. So then I heal myself again, go back up to 2. I play out a Gadatsu in hand, and that is past turn. And then he swings, and then he played a brand new, got a Hound's Blaze again, so that was his 4th one of the game.
Yeah.
He swings 8 with Sabo, Hound Blazes, or Hellhounds, whatever it's called. He swings 8 with brand new. Then he swings 1 with leader. At that point, he had like 4 attacks, and I had 5 cards in hand and 2 lives. So I was like,
it's over.
Yeah, that was game. Yeah. But maybe it was to the point where if I saw the 10 drop, I win, and I end up seeing the 10 drop to establish a Sabo.
Yeah.
After he's already swung with a Sabo, and I was like, yeah, it's too late to play it now. So I was like, damn. And I saw 1 turn earlier.
Then you'd have been fine. Yeah. Then you could.
I win that game.
Then you can win it. Yeah. And that's the funny thing about like Houndblaze. If they see 2 Houndblaze, the game is like in their favor. If they see 4. I mean, you can crawl out of it. You know how it is. I mean, if you're a good enough player, if the stars align, you can crawl out of it. But man, it is brutal because that's how I lost my game against Sakazuki as well. When last night at my locals, where like I said, I went 3-1. My 1 loss to Sakazuki. He saw all 4 of his Hound Blazes, and the game lasted 12 rounds or 12 turns. So he had gotten to his Hound Blazes at the bottom of his deck from his Manchuri recycle.
Oh wow.
He had
That's crazy.
7 cards left in his deck. That's how long that game went.
Our
brutal.
game, the game I played, he went through at least like 30 plus cards easy.
Yeah.
I was like, you saw 4 your Hound Blazes. He's like, I went through this much of my deck. I hope
He had like 2 cards left.
You're right.
It's like, okay, fair. But yeah, that's awesome. So just looking at the deck now, I'm putting it back on the main screen here. Going forward, any adjustments? I know we talked a little bit off camera, but what are you thinking about with the deck? And I should, let's make it a part A, part B. Number 1, how do you think the deck does against the current format, especially the Holy Trinity, right? Like the Enel, Blue Black Sakazuki, and Purple Luffy. And then any adjustments going forward?
So, rating the deck, so let's say rate it out of 5. I think the deck right now is at a 4.
Which is good, which is really nice.
Yeah, it's tech to the point where even if you don't see Big Mom, you can still, like I said, some game I didn't see Big Mom, I still played very well.
Yeah.
So I think like it functions so well that you can still do well without seeing your high ends.
Sure.
And you can stall yourself out. You can stall your opponent out until you do see your high end. So I think that's where I said the 4 out of 5. The 5 would be if I can have a way to consistently find the high ends, and that's like having a searcher in the deck. I did play originally with like brand new, being able to find all my Navy stuff, but at the same time, I think the Navy package isn't where the deck shines. I think it's more the Dressrosa side.
Sure.
Because of obviously Rebecca. Against the Holy Trinity, Sakazuki is 50-50. I think right now, I mean, if a Sakazuki player probably heard me, like they're like, no, it's probably 90-10. But I think for the most part, I think it definitely can be 50-50.
Yes.
Especially with the Isho in there. The Isho made it 50-50.
Yes.
Because just like they have one of Kaido, I have the one of Isho for the most part. But Red Purple Luffy, I think if you know how to play Red Purple Luffy, I think it's kind of 65-35 in our favor.
Sure. Like you're saying, like play around the 10 cost Luffy, basically. Yeah. And,
Purple Luffy is still I think our hardest matchup because of the Magellan and how fast they can ramp.
100%.
So I would definitely still give it to them when I think it's like more 30-70 in their favor.
Sure.
It's very hard to like Purple Luffy. You have to see your cards. Like there's no like in between. If you don't see them, you're just dead as doornails.
Yeah.
But like other decks, you can sort of like survive until you see your cards. Purple Luffy's like you're dead if you don't see it.
You're done for.
That's what I'm saying. 70-30. So like that's the Holy Trinity, right?
And then Enel.
Enel. Oh yeah, Enel. I think Enel is us. Like 70-30 us.
Yeah.
For sure.
And that's a good spot to be in, right? Especially like because Enel has won like I think the past 2 major tournaments that we've had so far in the West.
Yeah.
And it's like okay, well if our deck trashes that one, and you know what I mean, you could still lose, but you know what I mean. Favorable matchup. I'm hoping more people give it a try.
Yeah, especially your list. I think your list is like almost like 80-20 because my list is still very like, oh, I have to see the card. Whereas like, but I can still like sort of starve Enel until I do see the card. So it's kind of like a give and go with Enel.
Yeah.
Whereas your deck is like, if they attack you, you probably have a trigger. If
you
have searchers to find those high ends. So it's like you're in a position that you would be more beneficial than the list that I have. And Enel high end are not searchable either. I mean, they could run the Big Mom package with Pudding,
right?
But a lot of them don't really. They run the Big Mom package, but not the actual searcher side.
Yeah.
And I think the one they want to see the most is Yamato. I think they like Katakuri, but I think Yamato is like their bread and butter.
That's their boss. Yeah.
The Katakuri is pretty dope too because you can put back Shura, or if they trigger Shirahoshi, they can put back Shirahoshi. So that sort of like helps them in that aspect. But I think the way your deck is structured, I think you have like a very, very like good matchup with Enel. This one is like more like I'll say 60-40 for this one. Yours I think is definitely more 70-30 side.
The only time I really struggle with Enel is when they get like the perfect curve of like they go first or second. It really depends. But if they go Ohm into a Gadatsu into just Enel, Yamato, that's where it's like, okay, if they get a pull like that, what do you expect, right? It's like, okay, and I still can beat that, like you're saying, if I get enough Tinlins on time, if I can stabilize, but definitely. And so now for your deck going forward, how are you feeling? Like I love the Isho, by the way. I think I was flirting with that idea for a while, thinking like this is pretty nice. Like, are you liking that, or are you thinking maybe it's not fast enough?
Isho is definitely matchup based. Like Anel, perfect. Sakazuki, perfect. Katakuri, perfect. I think the only thing like purple Luffy.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
no, no. Actually, no. Purple Luffy is good too. I think because I did play it against Purple Luffy as well in one of the Sunday PPG locals, and I was running the one of Isho then. And yeah, no, I think Isho I really like in this deck.
I
So I
I
could
like
see
him.
I could see and then obviously it helps like late game Gadatsu's, late
That's
game
right.
Yamatos. Yeah, so
That's exactly what I was thinking because I've been flirting with the idea of adding either 10 cost Kuzan or 8 cost Isho because with the you've seen my list, like I struggle with dealing with some of the characters later in the game because I don't run like any cost reduction. You know what I mean? And I've just recently I'm probably going to be adding Great Eruptions back to the list, and I want to add Thunder. I've got a few ideas, but long story short, it's like that. Isho is nice, man, and he comes down. I don't run an 8 cost. I'm not even running Katakuri with the Big Mom Pirate Search because it's just not
yeah,
exactly what I'm trying to do.
yeah,
So
yeah. Katakuri is a little harsh in this list or in this with his leader.
it's a little
But the
clumsy.
thing, yeah, and the thing is like with Isho, it's like double-edged sword, right? Because sometimes it can be in hand and it can be dead,
Yeah,
but also if they know you have an Isho, then they play around the Isho.
yeah, they do.
And then that is the best thing for us. Because a lot of the time it's like we're trying to balance hand advantage. With Big Mom, you're discarding for her effect.
Right.
So and then we also have like I'm also running Kobe and Sakazuki. So sometimes I may be discarding a lot and my hand advantage is going to be my opponent's side. But if they don't play around the Isho, then we can easily grab the hand advantage back. And then now it's an established body on board that they have to deal with. Either they use resources to get rid of him,
Right.
or he sticks around a turn, and now I have a 10k swing, and I'm lowering everything, and you have no idea what removal I'm using right now. I could possibly play 2 Kobe's, maybe a Sakazuki,
Yep.
maybe a Yamato. You
Maybe
don't
a
know. So
Yamato.
so if they don't play around the Isho, if they play around the Isho, it's perfect because now our hand advantage is sort of like equal in that moment.
That's right.
But if they don't play around it, then
Boom.
surprise, and you
Yeah.
never know what you're pulling out. Like I said, like today I pulled out the guy's only 2K that he had in hand, and that sort of won me the game.
That's
or
it.
I could be pulling out a Whitebeard, or who knows, you know. So I think
Exactly.
Isho definitely, as a one of, is really nice. I mean, I think you could possibly push it to 2. Like I said, like since I really don't see Yamato that much, like I wouldn't mind going 2-2 with Yamato. But
That makes sense.
the best thing for me right now, I would say, is possibly adding either Thunderbolt just to add a little bit more variance to the game because you never know.
That number
And
5 is so magic right now too. Hitting a 5
yeah,
because that's every purple blocker.
yeah,
It's Sabo. It hits so many
yeah,
important targets.
yeah. And the thing also is that with Thunderbolt, uh, a lot more people are becoming more privy to Amaru and knowing that not to put them to 1 unless they can go for lethal. So
Nailed it. Yeah.
sometimes they leave you at that 2 range, but at the same time, they don't expect, oh, you have a blocker. I tap 2, I pop the queen, I ditch a life, and now I'm
And
at my Amaru
now,
range.
so you're getting
And
through 2 blockers potentially.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
And see that's why at first I was running Cracker in my Big Mom Pirates version of the list, but now I'm
mhm,
running Smoothie because
yeah,
I don't care about double attack. You know how it is. We
mhm,
don't need double attack. Like, yeah, there's
yeah,
probably a situation where it's great. Who cares? But I need
mhm,
to just be able to pop my life down to
mhm,
get in range of an Amaru
yeah,
so I can go through them. And
yeah,
yeah, that's just huge.
yeah.
And also, real quick,
Mhm.
I really got to know how was Tashigi the 3 cost 5K win attacker? How was that card?
I love it, and because
I do too.
it is the biggest smokescreen that I could ever use, right? Like
Yeah,
obviously Hina is nice because like it's on play, so it
sure.
sort of gives you that the little different variance. But like playing the 3, and then you think I could play probably 3-3, like Hina into Kobe, and that might work. But then I think about everything else. Then I play if I did Hina, let's say I played with Rebecca, that's 4 play for free, then 5, so that's 9 down already. And depending on where I am, it's very hard to actually just think about using 9 Don. You know, like it's
Sure.
when I'm at
Yeah.
9 Don, it's probably because I'm probably already around that 2 life range,
Yes.
and I may be able to get the board swing back, but at that time I'm more or less thinking, let me establish a body and probably heal myself. So
Yeah.
Hina, so you could use Hina, but at the same time I realize I feel myself a lot of the times like I don't. I felt a lot of the time that Hina just wasn't good in that spot. But
Sure. Yeah.
now with Tashigi, because Hina's on play. So even though it's a 3/5 body, it's on play. So after it's played, the effect of it is like it's gone. So
It's
like
done. Yeah.
yeah, Rebecca now. If Rebecca now, let's say play Rebecca, I get back a 2K, then I play Tashigi. It's like, oh wait, hold on, that Tashigi needs to go. Like
That's right.
somehow, some way, that Tashigi needs to leave the board because then it's going to retain value. It's very much like Kuzan, right?
Yep.
But with Kuzan, you're probably playing it out and active, and then you have to swing the next turn. But you're playing that 4, and that's it. Where the reason why I wanted Tashigi is because not only can Rebecca hit it, but when it comes in rested, that body takes up resources from the other opponent, or it takes up another attack, which sort of gives me 2 blockers instead of 1.
Exactly.
I have Rebecca, then I have Tashigi. And sometimes they just swing the normal. Like most people don't really swing 7 at it. I realize a lot of times, like I just find myself like protecting it with a 2K,
2K out of it.
that I have for the next turn.
Sure.
So I think Tashigi is good because I can hit it with Rebecca, but it also gives me that buffer, possibly the buffer of either consuming resources from my opponent or using it as like a pseudo blocker.
And so and pretty much you're just playing it right on turn 2, right? If you can.
Yep. Yeah.
Just plop. There it goes. Yeah.
Yep.
And that's one thing so it's funny. I know we talked about this a little bit in Discord. That's the whole reason I swapped over to the Big Mom Pirates is I wanted to just be able to go turn 1 play, turn 2 play, turn 3, just tempo them so I can, because you know how it is. If you get that tempo going, then you can just drop 10 Mom, just 10 Lin right on turn, whenever you get 10 Dawn. And I like that. That makes me want to try this version of the deck because you know how it is right now. This is a fast format. If you don't have a very strong play every turn, it's going to be ugly for you. It's going to be ugly.
I got to tell people like it's interesting because a lot of people still run like vanillas. And I'm like, I get it, but it is very hard to just play a vanilla and think it's going to like do something. Like if the card doesn't have an on play effect in some way, shape, or form, or have an effect that's lasting,
right,
it's very hard to give a reason why you want that in your deck.
Justify playing it, yeah.
It's like some people run 6/8 Sanji. I'm like, okay, that's cool, but I'm like, what about the 6/6 Sanji? And then that was the kid player, but obviously he gave good reasoning for the 6/8 because he's like everything but Sakazuki. It sort of has some footing because it's above the range of Thunderbolt. It's got the 6. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Actually, I was like, then I thought about, I'm like, yeah, you're right. But obviously, a 6/8 would definitely be better than a 4/6. I just think 4/6 is just like a no. It's like 4/6 is in the no zone. Like it's like a card that like you play it and then you hope it stays a turn. But for the most part, most decks that people are running, it probably won't.
Too easy to KO. Yeah. Just too easy.
Even with an L, they probably don't attack you. You play the 4-drop and then you pick a Datsu, pop it the next turn.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. It's like back in the day that was fine against Whitebeard when Whitebeard was everything, but still even then they got dealt with from time to time. And one last thing I want to ask on the deck here, the Kobe. Big fan of Kobe with Rebecca. How was Kobe for you?
Kobe is great.
See a monster?
The reason why it's so good is because of Rebecca. Like I said, Rebecca's like
she's the engine, man. Yeah.
I hope like if you're watching this, man, don't hit Rebecca.
Don't you dare hit Rebecca, man.
Leave Rebecca alone.
Don't you dare.
Go after Hound Blaze.
That's right. Please go after Hound Blaze. I'm not gonna lie.
I hope they don't. Actually, I hope they don't touch anything this time, just so we can have like a full set of like.
I actually agree with you. Yeah.
Just sit in the mess that you wanted so long and watch people overseas play for so long. Try
That's
to
it.
figure it out.
That's it. We'll be just fine over here. Don't mess with anything.
Yeah. So Kobe, like I said, Kobe's good because just like how Sakazuki sort of sets up their Rebecca plays, I do the same thing with Kobe. Like, if I have to discard a card for an effect, maybe Sakazuki or Big Mom, Kobe's fine. Because I have ways for cost reduction, whether it be Great Eruption or Isho or Tashigi, and they never expect the Rebecca Kobe play out of grave, but the thing they never expect is when I have Kobe in hand. And then I play Rebecca, get a 2K, then I play a Kobe. I'm like, whoa, what just happened? I'm like, yeah, man. it's what it is.
Because Kobe is similar to Sakazuki in the sense that it's like, this was a great card. It's just it was hard to justify playing before because you're losing a card in the process. But now, because of Rebecca, you're not. You're losing a card, but you're getting a card back, so it's worth it.
And and the one problem about this deck is that it almost feels like every card is valuable. And
Yes.
that's why I said like the dual call, like running a dual call leader is very like a tightrope
Yes.
because you have to really understand what card you're pitching. So you have to kind of like think 2 turns ahead sometimes. So like, oh, I can pitch this Sabo here, and maybe I buy it back with my Rebecca, or I can pitch this Yamato here because I have a Big Mom in my hand, or I can pitch this Borsellino because I have Rebecca that I could either buy it back or just use Rebecca as a blocker. So like, it's understanding
Yep.
when to ditch certain cards and not being like, damn, could have kept that card.
Should have
So
kept
like,
that. Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly. Well, Moash, this was awesome, man. I appreciate you coming
yeah,
on here.
of course, man.
I hope you keep rocking Black Yellow
Yeah,
Linlin, but I understand we all need a break from time to time. It's good to switch it
yeah,
up, of course. I'm the same way.
yeah.
My next project is probably going to be Blue Black Rebecca. Might be
Yeah,
hopping
yeah.
on that train
I was
again.
thinking about that too. I was as well.
It looks
You gotta
nice,
let me
man.
know.
It's
Yeah,
definitely. I'll definitely keep you
yeah.
updated. Well, is there any way people can like contact you, like a Twitter or something, somewhere they follow any
Yeah,
kind of
so
plug?
if you guys don't know, like if you guys are into One Piece, I'm like a not bigger One Piece creator on TikTok and also YouTube. It's just MoashDMC, MoashDMC on TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube.
And I'll be sure to put those in like either the comments or like the
All
description of
right,
the video. You know what I
appreciate
mean?
it, boss. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank y'all so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoy. If y'all got any comments, definitely leave them in the comment section below. Tell us what you think about the list and all that good stuff. And until next time, guys, peace.